like young women now with body image and things like that. But men, you know, our age and a little older, you guys have been conditioned in a different way. My husband and I, we're like, because he's like, if you're not powerlifting, you're not doing anything.
Got to work up a sweat.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's just not true. There's so many benefits to exercise and resistance training with a group where you typically use a lighter weight that would still benefit you. You know, that core stability, the fall prevention, the balance, it would all, I'd love to see more men at Be Well. I won't lie.
Well, you know, I guess my generation, the people I used to work out with and stuff, it was, if you ended your 45 minutes or whatever, and you weren't working up a sweat, then you really didn't put enough in.
Yeah. You'll still sweat.
That's not
You'll still
yoga and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I hear that about yoga, and I know you have yoga classes as well. But I hear that you know, even though it doesn't look that taxing, you're gonna work up a sweat.
Absolutely.
On that.
Yeah. Okay. To hold any of those positions, it can be a challenge.
What does community have to do with all this?
Community, you know, and it's kind of funny because one of the fitness trends for 2023 is community, and I feel like I just want to hand out party hats to everybody and go, welcome. Nice for you to join us. People want to work out with an encouraging group. They want to work out with people who are somewhat like-minded. I am very intentional about keeping politics, religion, politics, and politics out of the studio. I don't want to hear it.
How's that working out for you?
I don't want to hear it. I don't care about it, and nobody knows who or what I am, and that's by design. Because I want everyone to connect on a different level, encouraging one another, supporting one another, keeping one another accountable. Everybody kind of comes along with the same group of goals, which is to be healthy, which is to, you know, keep injuries at bay, which is to have a better future and a better quality of living and their activities of daily living. So community is really important to us. And I have to say, it really doesn't have a whole lot to do with me. I'm kind of like the curator. It's the group of people who work out there. You know, they're like interests. They could start a book club at any time. I see books flying around, like there's a book on a shelf. Oh, that's for her. Oh, there's a book over there. That's for her. Puzzles in the wintertime. I see we have puzzles up on the shelf right now. I'm like, who are these for? Summertime, they have vegetables. It's like a farmer's market in there. So our group, our community, they're really connected inside and outside the studio.
Yeah. Very good. And you're the referee. If somebody steps over the line, you're going to blow the whistle.
I'll say every once in a while. Yeah, it does happen. We're all human beings.
Okay, let's bring it back here now.
It's not a utopian society. It does happen. But
exercise and diet, because you just mentioned fruits and vegetables in the summertime. A lot of times in the winter we don't have access to those good fresh fruits and vegetables. Diet an important part of all this?
It really is. It really is. And it crosses you know, economic barriers, it crosses social lines. It's just, it's really important. And I think there's probably there's too much information out there. There's too much, you know,
changes
you
all the
can
time.
go on, right, you can go online and be so overwhelmed that you won't even know what to do. So I am not, and we don't, any of our instructors, we don't ever recommend a diet or an eating plan to someone. It's not in our scope of practice. You know, our scope of practice is exercise and movement and the benefits of. So we always recommend for people to consult a dietitian, because again, you know, you might know this person who's a health coach and they did a keto diet and man, it was great for them. But what if you have some sort of chronic condition or illness and a keto diet will make you more sick?
Yeah.
I don't know that because I don't have the education. So we always recommend a dietitian. Locally, the VGA Center for Obesity Medicine, they have a registered dietitian. Obviously, they have Dr. Zapaka who oversees the Obesity Medicine Center. And also, I found that Teladoc has online dietitians.
So it's online?
Yeah, so you can do virtual appointments with a dietitian, which makes it really easy, because if you're, you know, locally, your options may be limited in the county, and then you're going to maybe Cranberry or Boardman or Robinson, and that's a drive for some people. So that's a nice option. But I always say, especially with so many people, you know, with insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes and chronic illnesses, whether it's fibromyalgia, you know, conditions like, it could be anything. It could, you know, you really want a dietitian who understands what helps manage those illnesses and what hurts those illnesses.
But it sounds to me like Be Well Nation is just an inviting group, an inviting program that you encourage people to get involved with.
I would love for people to understand that exercise is not what they think it is, and it's really something that is good for your body and good for your mind, and it's not what if you feel like exercise is a chore, just give it a shot and just try it from a different mindset, a different perspective of, you're doing something good for your body, and it doesn't have to feel like you're punishing yourself. That's the big thing. I feel like fitness and exercise for so many years has been viewed as a punishment and chore. We have to find the right way to do it. You have to give yourself a little bit of room and a little bit of grace, and do that least invasive, most successful plan.
And Chris, I know that you speak of doing good, and I know Be Well Nation has done good in the community. You do a lot of fundraisers for people. In our last minute here, anything coming up?
No, we don't have any fundraisers planned for late winter, early spring. We don't have anything. We do have a Sweat with Your Sweetheart Week coming up.
Oh, good.
It's an annual event all week. We invite people.
Sweat with your sweetheart.
Anybody you'd call sweetheart, bring them in. And your sweetheart, whether it's a partner, a friend, a coworker, a kid, niece, nephew, you can bring them in and they will work out for free.
And can you break the myth that men are going to lose weight faster than women? Because women, you go on the diet at the same time, you work out at the same time as your significant other, and you lose, several pounds, and she's still struggling. And,
I don't know if I can break that myth.
No,
I don't think. It depends on a lot of different factors. It depends on what they're eating, what they're doing. It depends.
My wife always says that's because God knew that we had to live longer, and we needed to persevere. So it doesn't matter if they lose all that weight. Chris Koski, Be Well Nation. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. This was
always.
Fun.
Website or someplace people can do that?
BeWellNation.com, and then we're also on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us under Be Well Nation.
It's not too late. All right, it's the St. Barnabas radio program. It's the best of Beaver County, and we thank you for being a part of it. Remember, it's not too late. You can get started today.
Yes.
I'm Mike Romine. Stay healthy. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM. Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning on this Thursday morning, January the 26th of 2023. Your Beaver County Radio weather forecast for today is calling for a chance of morning snow showers, changing over to rain showers, then back to snow showers this evening. There's also the potential for convective snow bands and or snow squalls late this afternoon that could create hazardous travel for the evening commute. Our high today is going to be up to 36 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano is reporting that the Hopewell School Board met and approved the 2023-24 course curriculum guides for the junior and senior high school. Madison Martin, a student at Geneva College, was approved to complete her student teaching during the spring semester. Peter Lewis, also a Geneva student, will complete 12 observation hours at the high school. The board made a client services agreement with Salant Health LLC to provide psychological evaluation services. A temporary services agreement was approved with Trend Services Incorporated for psychological services as well. Students in K through 8 will have spring learning and after-school program per ESSER 3 guidelines. District transportation will not be provided. A request from Central Valley Middle School to have their swim team use the district's pool for their practices this season was approved, and the board also approved a contract with the Hopewell Township Police Department to provide extra services on an as-needed basis at an hourly rate of $69.27 per hour with a 2-hour minimum. Pennsylvania has enacted a statewide drinking water limit on 2 forms of highly toxic chemicals nicknamed forever chemicals. The rule was published earlier this month and applies to all 3,117 water systems. both chemicals belonging to the group of PFAs, which are used in products such as nonstick cookware, carpets, firefighting foam, and fast food wrappers. There is no national limit. Former Governor Tom Wolf's administration initiated a plan to clean up affected sites, test water systems, and create a standard after testing in suburban Philadelphia communities near military installations showed that tap water contaminated with the compounds. A new report released by the Pennsylvania Auditor General Tim DeFleur reveals that Pennsylvania school districts are raising taxes while stockpiling funding in their reserves. School districts, by law, can only raise taxes without voter approval if their fund balances fall below a certain threshold. But the audit finds that districts are strategically transferring and committing funds to avoid the restriction and raising taxes despite large reserve funds. The audit covers 12 school districts in all, including North Allegheny and Cannon McMillan here in our area, and its findings show that common yet questionable practices allowed the districts to raise taxes 37 of 48 times that they were eligible. The districts raised taxes despite having sufficient funding and averaged more than $360 million collectively in their reserves. The Commonwealth Foundation has tracked the growth of all 500 school districts' reserve funds since 2012. Reserve funds collectively increased almost 33% to $5.29 billion, according to the latest financial record from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. In addition, school districts still hold over $3.6 billion in leftover federal pandemic aid. PennDOT has extended the closure of the northbound and southbound I-79 rest areas in Plain Grove Township, Lawrence County. The rest areas have been closed to motorists since mid-September for interior renovations and sidewalk repairs to both facilities. The closure has been extended through the end of January. PennDOT is announcing overnight inspection activities on the McKees Rocks Bridge will occur overnight tonight, weather permitting. Single-lane alternating traffic will occur on the bridge over the CSX railroad tracks from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. The U.S. economy likely rolled out of 2022 with momentum, registering decent growth in the face of painful inflation, high interest rates, and rising concern that a recession may be months away. Economists have estimated that the gross domestic product, the broadest measure of economic output, grew at a 2.3% annual pace from October through December. The Commerce Department will issue its first of 3 estimates of the fourth quarter GDP growth today. Despite a likely second straight quarter of expansion, the economy is widely expected to slow and then slide into recession sometime in the coming months as increasingly high interest rates engineered by the Federal Reserve take a toll.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
A chance of morning snow showers changing over to rain showers this afternoon, then back to snow showers again this evening. Now, there is the potential for convective snow bands and or snow squalls late this afternoon that may create hazardous travel for the evening commute. We're expecting less than 1 inch of accumulation. High's going to be 36 today, and overnight tonight your low is going to be down to 26. Tomorrow, a chance of morning snow showers. No accumulation is expected. High of 33 degrees. Saturday, cloudy and a high of 43. Then Sunday, morning showers likely. High of 42 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
It's time for Notes on Local Entertainment, the show highlighting the best in local talent. Hosted by Scott Tady Entertainment, editor for the Beaver County Times, and Eddie Crow.
Extra special bonus happy thing for today. You can listen to this like you always do. Scott Tady comes in this time every Thursday. You can also watch it. This is being live streamed. Scott is here in the studio. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
You too, Eddie. Good to be here.
All right. That's all I got.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. If you do have questions for Scott, you can post them on our Facebook page. Like I said, this is being live Facebook streamed right now. If you want to watch this as it's occurring, you can do that. It's just Beaver County Radio or WBVP WMBA is where you can follow that. You can watch me scratch my nose live on the radio.
I'm wearing the standard sweatshirt, the new restaurant in Bridgewater. They
all right.
Hooked me up.
I wasn't going to bring that up. Stand up so people on screen, I'll tell you when, and stand up so people can see it. It's a nice sweatshirt. I like the sweatshirt.
They've got some nice merch there. Good food, too.
Yeah. I wasn't going to mention that. But Does that fall under the heading of plugola?
Probably
Did you get a sandwich?
That was paid for by
Someone else?
Yes, but not the restaurant.
Does that give you hope when there are new places coming up? Because you went through the COVID with an interesting from an interesting perspective. You saw a lot of places that were open that couldn't be open. When you see a new place, how long has the Standard been open?
December. Then they got their liquor license about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's the important part.
That's really helping. Yeah, and, you drive by there now. It's right along the riverfront, of course, in Bridgewater, and
right across the street from what's the name of the place?
the drive-through place, Jerry's
yes. Curb.
Standard's doing really well. Then I can't wait for summer. They have that outdoor deck with a beautiful view. They're going to have a stage out there. They've been playing some. They've had a DJ from New York doing some shows, and I like how they've taken their time on it. Some of that was forced. Some of that was the state's red tape taking so long to grant them the liquor license, and so that makes me root for them even more. They really, this was rolled out over a couple years, and now everything they've done so far, they've done right. So really rooting for the Standard to do well. And we lost a place on the riverfront there. Of course, Spanky D's closed a couple weeks ago. That was a nice place. So it's just the restaurant industry, as you know, so up and down.
It is such a the quickest way to lose your everything is to say, I'm going to open a restaurant because the margins are so if a restaurant's doing well, all that means is they're in the black. Yeah. It means they're not losing money if they're doing well. People say, and you see it with pro athletes. They put their name on a restaurant. Then they lose millions of dollars.
Yeah, I remember Rod Woodson's, Jerome Bettis says, you could do a Heinz Ward's. So many Steelers have gone that route.
I remember. Now, all right, did you have a favorite? Because Woodson's, their chicken sandwich or their chicken salad was pretty good. It was a half barrel of lettuce with like 8 chicken tenderloins piled on top of it. It was pretty good.
I do remember the food was really good there. Right in Station Square, too. It was kind of a hip place back when Station Square was still a place to go and get your nightlife on. So.
And then at Bettis's 36, do you remember the signature food?
I do not.
The deep fried hoagie.
Whoa.
Here was the deal. I did a bunch of shows there. I owe Bettis hundreds of dollars because I ate like you wouldn't believe. The deep fried hoagie, Scott, if you got it there and you ate it when it came to your table, it was phenomenal. If it got cold and you took it home, it was, the tubes of sausage. Think of a tube like that, but just lard. Okay. It was not a good next day sandwich, but I remember that. Well, let me ask you, talking about places that aren't here, do you have memories of Maury's?
I remember when it was Chameleon Junction, when that happened in the 90s. That became the new name. They were booking national blues acts there. People like Carl Weathersby, Bernard Allison, Kenny Neal, Debbie Davis, like top-notch blues people were playing this Rochester Township bar. But I know the people a generation ahead of me will talk more about the Norm Nardini, the Joe Grishecki, the B.E. Taylor, the Granati's being discovered there.
I guarantee you Witkowski's been around there once or twice.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Does that break your heart when something like that happens, or because you see shows every week at every kind of venue? Is that just the nature of the beast? Places come, places go.
I address this in my column that runs tomorrow. And as far back as 2020, that site was condemned. What was left of Maury's was a roofless structure with some graffiti-strewn walls that were falling apart.
It was a shed.
It was gone. There was nothing. D'Amico, what's his name? Meeks, they call him, the young 2022 Blackhawk graduate. He did one final show there I thought was so cool. He lugged his guitar there, walked through the briars and the woods to get there and filmed it on YouTube. The place was ruins. There was nothing left. I know people were really sad. There was the fire that destroyed the ruins a couple weeks ago, and that gave everyone a chance to once again reminisce about the great memories. But I'm really telling people there's good things happening in the Beaver Valley music scene too. From Fermata Brewing, they're having bands record live albums and live video shows there.
I see setup. I ride my bike by there all the time. They're setting up or tearing down for something. Seems like every weekend.
It's coming up. There's a band called Wine and Spirit out of Elwood City. They've got like 3 or 4 albums. They're going to record a live album. They're like the old-fashioned MTV Unplugged kind of thing.
Right.
They're going to be filming that. Byron Nash, the great musician from Pittsburgh, he did a live stream, kind of a video thing that they're going to put out on video, filmed at Fermata. You got that. You got Beaver Station with the great concert series. You got Lincoln Park tomorrow night is hosting a 5-time Grammy Award winner, Marty Ashby, guitarist out of Pittsburgh. He runs the Manchester Craftsman Guild, the great jazz hall down in Pittsburgh.
That's ridiculous level of talent to be involved in that guild.
He's just and he's just a studio, a hired hand. You're putting out a jazz album. He's the guy you go to play guitar. He's gonna be doing a show at Lincoln Park. So I get all the sadness about Maury's, and I feel it too. I saw some great shows there. But let's not forget about the positive. There's some really good things going on in the Beaver County music scene right now.
Scott Tady of the Beaver County Times entertainment editor is my guest. It's news and notes on entertainment. Well, talk about Beaver Station a little bit. I had no experience with Beaver Station until I believe it was the Buffalo Rose show last year. And I remember looking around going, this venue is so cool.
Really is. They have the indoor and the outdoor component. This show, of course, in January is going to be Saturday night. It's going to be indoor. Joel Lindsay doing his first Beaver County show since like 2007. This is a guy, London-born, raised in England, fell in love with a Beaver County girl, moved to Beaver County, and then he ended up in Pittsburgh where he's been for a dozen more years. Great singer-songwriter. He does covers and he does originals. He just put out a new single, like KDK TV's featured him, but you'll hear anything from Stevie Wonder to Fleetwood Mac to Beatles. He does a lot of English stuff, of course. He's a big Paul Rogers Bad Company fan. He's on stage Beaver Station this Saturday. Still a few tickets left. Your ticket price gets you complimentary beer and wine. It's just a great setting. The acoustics are wonderful in that old Beaver train station.
They are.
I don't know if it's a subway tile or what, but
yep.
It just sounds really good. And it's so intimate, and it's a place, we've talked about this, people go for the music. You're not going to a bar to pick someone up and, there's a band playing background,
You're not showing up to ignore the music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
New this year, they have an elevated stage indoors. That was one of the things they're always looking for feedback, and some people said, well, my chair was in the back row, which is only like 4 rows deep, and, what can you do about that? So they have a stage they're going to try this year.
You got to go see something, and I'm really curious. I want to ask you about it because I loved the record. Sometimes they'll take a record and make a stage play out of it or a cartoon. South Park, right?
You know what they call that now? Jukebox musicals.
Jukebox. They've got it. Well, it exists forever now if they came up with the term for it. Alanis Morissette, I remember when the record came out, and I remembered okay, this isn't a record that has 1 or 2 singles. This is a record from beginning to end. This is spectacular. Loved it. They made a stage play or a musical out of it. You got to cover the musical. What's it called? Jagged Little Pill, the musical?
That's exactly what it's
called. Why didn't they call it Jagged Little Musical?
Too late.
All right, how was it?
Powerful, very emotional. As you know, that Alanis Morissette album is so intense.
Yes.
There's no other word for it.
It's not light listening, no.
No. They bring that to the stage. They really do a great job of incorporating the music. It doesn't feel forced at all. You're going to love the song Ironic. And for decades, people have been going over that song. And people argue, well, the references she's using aren't really ironic. And they find a very funny way to get ahead of that and address it. It's really, I don't want to give it away, but they shoot down that argument at people. Well, needing a knife when you got a thing of 100 forks isn't ironic and whatever.
Meeting the man of your dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
How do they do it? Because you've got the album, so you've got chunks of the material already there. Do they write around it? Is there a main character that traverses the peaks and valleys of the songs?
There's a live band above the stage. They're kind of suspended on a stage that's elevated above where the actors are doing their stuff.
Okay.
Cool. A 7-piece band. But they spread it out among the cast. The biggest song, of course, is "You Ought to Know." That's a song where Alanis just rips into her cheating 2-timing lover. Yeah, and
she's upset.
Yeah. She's been dumped and she's not going quietly into the night. That is sung by the 5th billed performer in this musical. You would expect it would be the lead, obviously, one of the leads. One of the side characters is the one that gets to belt out that super emotional song, and she just nailed it to the wall. It was amazing.
Well, that tells you the depth of the skill set, the depth of the talent of the cast, for sure.
Very, very true. It's a young cast. When they come out for their first ensemble, I'm looking like, okay, none of these were even born when this album came out in 1995. Got to interview one of them. He graduates from college next year, and he's doing his first national tour. And he said, I think the songs are more relevant now than they were then, and they're just as powerful. And he makes a good point. They find a way. It's it's heavy. It gets into things like opioid addiction and rape culture and just racial stuff. So it's really heavy, but it doesn't come across as preachy. I think they balance that very well.
Do you leave feeling better about the world, or do you leave feeling as angry as she was when she recorded the record?
I think you feel more willing to do something to change the world.
It motivates you. It addresses things, and you go, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Yeah, sometimes
Really?
you can't just be a spectator. Sometimes you got to speak out.
How much harder is it to? And I don't want to say market, but how much harder is it to get through when an album or when a piece of music has deep, deep meaning, but it requires you to look for it rather than the accessibility of, I call it bubblegum pop.
I think it's a big reward when you do that, but sometimes I think people don't make that commitment and listen to the album, and it doesn't do as well as it maybe deserves to do. Is what I would say.
Oh, they don't? Okay, I got it. They're not interested in deep philosophical. There's like, we want to put out a record and have people go, ooh, good record. You're talking about relevance. This is an album, and I love albums like this because we just saw another example of it. An album that is as relevant now as when it came out 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years ago. That's extraordinarily rare. What was your take on the Pink Floyd Rainbow business?
Well, obviously, if they would have gone back and looked at the 1973 album, they would have seen a rainbow prism on the cover of that album. So
Right.
Nothing is new except they changed the design of it just to tweak it a little bit. I don't know why people got misguidedly political on that.
You don't know why people got misguidedly political.
Wow.
We're arguing about cartoon bears with pants at this point in society.
And M&M's and high heels.
And M&M's and high heels, which is just the way they appeared in my dreams. Scott Tady is my guest. It's news and notes on entertainment. How much was the ticket for the Alanis Morissette? I know you didn't pay because you're special, but how much was the ticket?
You can start at like 70.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not as bad as concert ones. And, we talk a lot about Ticketmaster. Did you see the LA Times article about that? It was very enlightening on one thing. The service fees, we always gripe about, what's this $40 service fee?
Right.
That's not just Ticketmaster getting that. That's being split by the bands, the promoters, and Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster's being the fallout guy for that. Bands are getting more money under the table because of that. I did not know that. That was very interesting to me.
Do you expect anything to happen? Because the congressional hearings are going on, and I've watched the congressional hearings, and here's what I see. A dude that has never, ever heard a Britney Spears song using a line from a Britney Spears song in his testimony. Do you expect anything to happen from that?
Is this about what, ticket pricing? Or?
Ticket price,
Okay.
and the fact that you've got Ticketmaster and then you've got Live Nation.
That's what I'm hearing. They're thinking there's going to be a bigger wall set up between those two, because now Live Nation, you own a bunch of venues like Starlake, you own a bunch of radio stations, you already have a built-up monopoly. You're now sharing the ticket thing with Ticketmaster. You go on to livenation.com, it's linked to Ticketmaster.
Yes.
So I think they're going to try to break those two off a little bit to bring some of it down, but I don't know what that's going to do for prices.
My daughter lives in Chicago, and she complains every cool place that used to be cool, Live Nation bought it.
Yeah.
And she said, you're if you want to play out, if you're a band, at this point, you really don't have any choice in the matter.
That was interesting. Today, John Mayer announced he's coming. He's doing a solo acoustic tour with a date at PPG Paints Arena. And he's announcing tickets at johnmayer.com. Now, I'm sure they're also going to go on sale at Ticketmaster or other places. But I'm starting to see that more and more where bands, when they're first blasting the news, hey, we're having a show, they're putting their website out there. I don't know if that's the direction they're going and they want you to go to their website first, or is it just direct you right to Ticketmaster? I don't know.
He's doing an acoustic set at such a large venue.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
What do you think about that? Acoustic, you think intimate. You think maybe a 500 seat at most, everybody can see and hear.
I think if he does it in the round, that'll make it a little more intimate. But I agree with you, and there will be opening acts, and he's kind of covering his bases, saying he also will do some songs on piano and on electric guitar. It's not 100% acoustic, but it's mostly acoustic. But he's going to have to, I think, show some personality, which he has. He's going to have to joke around and
his music is a wonderland.
So's his hair.
I know. I think that's a large part of it. Who hadn't announced that they're coming out that you're waiting? Saying, come on, you guys. I know you want to. I know you need the money. Who you looking for?
Oh, man, you caught me off guard there.
Well, the reason I ask, somebody I've been waiting for about the last 10 years to notice is coming by, and I'm going to hit you up later for free tickets.
All right, that's good to know. I would like to see the Kinks do one final tour. I'll be crazy about this, but I'm a big fan of Bjork, and she's never played Pittsburgh in my memory, at least since the 90s, early 90s. And she's doing Coachella. She's just so odd. I want to see her.
So, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
I may enjoy the music. I may not. I want to see what the spectacle is.
Yes, very true.
So, all right.
Okay.
There is a show coming. it's going to break my heart if you're not as excited about it as I am.
Uh-oh.
Cowboy Junkies.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
That's going to be good.
Is that one of those bands that you maybe heard one song and they went away, but they were quietly still doing all they were doing, and they continue to be brilliant?
Yeah, the definitive cover of Sweet Jane for sure.
Sweet Jane, 'cause cheap is how I feel. Sun comes up, it's Tuesday morning.
Got that on a cassette tape. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's that old.
Yeah. What venue is that? I'm trying to remember what venue they're playing.
Jurgles.
Okay, that's a good place for them.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I see stuff like that, and it's like, okay, there is hope. Those bands that maybe had, like you just said, the one song everybody knew from them was a cover of a old Lou Reed song. Phenomenal band. The rest of the band or the rest of the music was absolutely great, and there's money to be made.
Well, I'll tell you what's fired me up. I finally finished my binge of Yellowstone, the TV show.
Never seen it.
The soundtrack is amazing. It's country, but it's like alternative country. It's a lot of Sturgill Simpson. It's a lot of
Really?
Ryan Bingham. It's Zach Bryan, and just like really cool. And they're not getting as much play as they should. I hope the show Yellowstone. It's already done something for fashion. I hope it does something for some really great musicians.
What has it done for fashion? Oh, all the posers are buying belt buckles, aren't they?
You bet they are. Yes, sir.
What's the best fashion trend that ever came out of music?
Oh.
Because a whole lot of them did, not many of them stuck around.
I definitely would say it was not good. Was the flash dance, all that whole leg warmer?
Oh, the shoulder off leg warmer headband thing.
Yeah.
So Olivia Newton-John, let's get physical.
Yeah,
no,
not a fan. Wasn't a fan then. Not a fan now.
What should I have asked you that I didn't ask you? I didn't ask you about your video.
The new place, Fresh Memories in Hopewell Township, where the old Radio Shack was at Green Garden Plaza. Really cool art venue where you can go in, you and the family or date, whatever. You can create ceramics, you can create paintings. They have staff there to help you if you're like me and can barely draw a stick figure, or if you're more advanced, you can do what you want to do. But I did a video just to kind of show you what it's like. A nice addition to Hopewell Township.
What sorts out what videos you do? Do you get calls from people saying, hey, we get this new thing and it's different? Or do you just hear about it and walk by?
Not too many call to ask. I kind of seek them out, but I didn't want it to be something unique. Like I could tell you about an art studio and you kind of nod your head okay, but if I show you what it looks like in there, if I show you some of the examples of work they've done, you have a better idea of what to expect.
I have no idea what to expect every single day. All right, parting words. Good to see you, man.
You too. I hope to see some people at that Beaver Station show Saturday. I'm going to go up and say a few words. Oh, you can also catch me Sunday at the Lindsay Theater in Sewickley. They're having a screen to Lorianne Burgess of Stangles is going to be bringing some more of those delicious pastries you see in the Tom Hanks movie. And
Stangles got hooked up with Otto, man.
About that.
And I love Stangles. That's my neighborhood. That's what I wanted to ask you. What do you do when you walk up and say a few words before a premiere of whatever? I suggested open with a fart joke because it was Sewickley, and you rightfully just ignored my Facebook comment.
I didn't know where to go with that.
When you walk up there, what's in your head? What are you telling them? Because they ain't there to see you. That's like stage announcements.
Oh, but they loved me the last time. It was a really good crowd. You want to make it relevant to them. You don't want to give away what they're about to see in the movie. That's not cool. You want to just give them an insight while you're watching this movie. Here's something you might not really know, but it's good to know. And I mentioned the address for Stangles, where you can go, the hours, that kind of thing. Also going to be there Sunday, Buzz Moyer. Did you ever hear of him? He's a cameraman, Sewickley Academy graduate. He's going to be giving a speech. This guy's been on every movie you can think of.
Yeah,
he's worked with Spielberg.
He's a shooter.
Yes,
that's
the Steadicam.
Yeah.
But he's going to be there 4:30, giving a speech before Man Code Auto at the Lindsay Theater, Sewickley. I'll be there. Lorianne's been there. We're bringing a bunch of her pastries. So you're looking for something to do Sunday. Forget football. Go see a good movie.
I would far rather walk over and see. Well, I'm not going to walk to Sewickley. It's about a 4-minute drive.
You can ride your bike there.
I'll ride my bike there. Just have pastry ready for me. Good to see you again, man.
You too, Eddie.
Scott Tady is the entertainment editor for the Beaver County Times. We do this every Thursday on Teleforum.
Falling in love is one thing. Having anxiety about falling is a whole different subject. If you or a family member are concerned about falling and